if you're anything like me and you've been on self-improvement for a significant period of time, you obviously want better for yourself. You imagine yourself 5, 10, 15 years from now, having achieved all your goals, having your dream physique, your bank account looking good, you looking good, your life just amazing. And that's great, that's what is always preached in self improvement, and it's an important pillar of self improvement. Having that confidence, visualizing yourself being successful, changing the way you view yourself so that you have something to aim towards. And that's great. But it becomes a problem when you struggle to discipline yourself. You must have seen these posts at one point or another in the last couple of years on Instagram and TikTok. And they always say, be careful telling people your goals because it releases a feeling similar to having achieved the goal. And then that takes away from the motivation. And there's definitely some truth to that. I've been experiencing it all year. I've been struggling to discipline myself. I've gotten stuff done, but I haven't been as consistent as I would have liked to have been. And I've taken some time to think about it, and I've realized that this is a problem. I always picture myself being successful in the future, because why not? I still remember when I was 16, I actually had this epiphany today. When I was 16, I imagined myself 4 years from now, right? So I'm 20 now. I imagined myself, I wanted to be like an athlete, like all teenagers. And even though the goal was crazy, I knew that I could do some damage. I could get close to it. I imagined myself being an athlete, traveling around the world, being rich and famous, having my dream body, just doing well in life. And I sort of realized today that I'm 20. It's been 4 years and my life is kind of similar. Because as the old saying goes, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. And then I realized that the problem is that I'm always picturing myself being successful. I never ever picture what life would be like if I don't achieve my goals, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, if I carry on doing what I'm doing in this moment. I never ever picture it that way. And I realize that it's important in motivating yourself, because there are many different kinds of motivation, but like the two main ones are, positive motivation, where it's, oh, I could do amazing, if I study hard for this test, I could get a really good mark. Then there's the negative motivation based on fear. And what I've noticed is that it's a very strong motivation. It's a reason why we do most of our things. I need to study for this test, otherwise I'm going to fail, and the repercussions are not going to be nice. And we need both. We do need both when it comes to motivation. I realized that today, because it's like, I'm doing it again. Like I haven't learned from what has happened like the last 4 or 5 years. I still picture myself at 25, 30 being successful, having achieved all my goals and everything. But I don't picture what my life is going to be like if I carry on doing what I'm doing in this moment. And it's important to realize that, because it wakes you up to reality. Because it's like, if you carry on doing this is where your life's going to go. Because you get caught in a trap of comfort, where it's like, I've got 5 years, like I'm 20. 20 is like really young. You hear stories about people starting at 25, 30. You only need, when it comes to success, depending on what you're doing, you really only need like 2 or 3 years of like really focusing completely on yourself to completely turn your life around. And it provides a sense of comfort. It's like, oh, I'm 20, I could waste the next year, I could waste the next 2 years, and start and still be successful by 25. But the problem comes when you don't get those years back. Those years go, and eventually you'll find yourself at 30 still being the same person you are today, just a little bit older. And you don't get those years back. And obviously, as you get older, you have less motivation. It gets harder. You have more responsibilities, and it's important to utilize these younger years. And that's the conclusion I came to today. I really need to stop visualizing myself, and you probably do the same thing. If you're in self improvement, you want better for yourself. You imagine yourself having achieved your goals, and if I was to tell you 5, 10 years from now, where do you think you'll be? You're gonna tell me like your dream self, because what's the point of thinking about the future if it's not nice, And it's important to make that switch sure, think about who you could be, but also remind yourself of who you're going to be if you carry on doing what you're doing in this moment. Because I'm sure you've heard this at some point about your identity. It's important to be like, I'm not going on a diet, but I am someone who eats this way, or I am not going to the gym for the next couple of months. I am someone who gyms. Like you've heard that kind of thing, and there's a lot of truth to it, because when you see yourself a certain way, all your actions align to fit that person, and you get trapped in this delusion of, I'm going to be successful. 5 years, I'm going to be successful, but if I tell you what are you going to do today, it's like, maybe I want to chill and watch some TV or whatever. I've always got tomorrow, I've got the next week, but those days turn to weeks, turn to months, turn to years, turn to decades, turn to regret, and you don't get that time back. So it's important to create that sense of urgency. And yeah, that's all I have to say for today.